Hi guys, it's Penelope in London, and I've got for you the full moon, which is happening in the coming hours. And what we're going to have is a full moon in the sign of Taurus conjunct. You can see here, if I get my marker here, then you can see better. You can see the moon. It's going to be at 8:38 degrees of Taurus, and the sun is, when it's a full moon, the sun is opposite, and the sun is also at the same degree, 8:38, but in Scorpio. So I'm just going to run through this chart. The full moon is going to happen in California. It will be at 7:49 a.m. In New York, it will be at 10:49 a.m. And in the UK, it's going to be at 2:49 p.m. in the afternoon. What we have is, it's a Taurus full moon, so we've got this, this T-square going on here with Mercury and Uranus and the moon, and it's we've got a T-square you can see just going on here, which is a lot of tension, and Jupiter, it looks like Jupiter's involved there. If you basically scroll down, if you go to this site actually, and let me show you, go to AstroSeek, you can get your own chart, and basically you just need your date, time of birth is really important in astrology. If you need help with that and you can't ascertain, then I can help you. If you get stuck, you can book an hour with me. I do readings on astrology, evolutionary astrology. We look at the soul journey and our own evolution. And what do we got here? So we basically have got Taurus. So let's look at what Taurus means, the full moon. Basically we have, the meaning of Taurus is about survival. So, it's about our inner needs, and the ruler is Venus. So the ruler of Taurus is Venus, and currently Venus is in Libra at 4 degrees. And we've got survival. Taurus is survival, fertility, it's self-sufficiency, security, it's procreation, preservation. It can also be stagnation, withdrawal, where we're isolated. It's about our security, self as a resource, the resources within ourselves, our inner resources that we have, our beauty, values, patience. It's our self-esteem. It's our personal value and our personal worth. It's also can be to do with poverty and giving up. It's where we can suppress our emotions, shut down, be stubborn. And it can be where we're cautious, literal, materialistic, but it's about possessions. It's also the farmer, the thief, the carpenter, the landowner, just to give you an idea of some of the archetypal understandings of this. It's our self-esteem, and it's also patience, the bull, Taurus. And with a full moon, I'll go through what the sun means as well, actually, because the sun is in Scorpio for at least, let's see here, the sun is at 8 degrees, so we've got another 22 days at least with the sun in Scorpio. But the full moons, what do they mean for us? The full moon, it represents completion, the height of power and realizations, the desire of our dreams, and it's the peak. It's a peak of clarity. It's where we get that moment of clarity. And in a chart, we look wherever it falls in our chart. It will affect the 2 weeks ahead, if it's a full moon. But if it's a lunar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, then it's a whole different thing. It's affects a different amount of time. But a full moon is also, it's a time where we can celebrate our growth and look at our progress and reflect on also how far we have come. So even if we've got hard aspects to it, we can also enjoy it as well, because we're forever evolving and forever moving. And with it in the moon in Taurus, it's about safety and stability, and it's, that can be difficult to satisfy. It's not easy to satisfy that. And it's about our practical nature. It's where our dependence on material aspects of life also. It's where we've come to learn to change is part of life. And it's also where, complications can occur sometimes as well. With particularly with what's going on now, and particularly as that moon is bang on Uranus there and Lilith. It's moved off Lilith, but it's still in orb actually. You can see Lilith here. which I won't go into right now. But it's basically, we need to find our own self-respect, and also, not just seeking things outside ourselves just for, to like a codependent sort of thing, to feel good. It's like we've got our inner resources, and that's what we want to take note of with the Taurus full moon. And it's also where we can learn to accept who we are and to find inner tranquility, and peace inside ourselves, and smell the roses and not rush around. It's like taking things, at a different pace, and also, looking at the needs of others as well, because, others' needs are just as important. And as we meet each other's needs as well, not just our own, as we meet our own needs, then we're able easier to meet needs of others. And then what we have is the understanding of the sun, which I'm going to say is in Scorpio. So let me tell you about this. So the sun is in Scorpio, and it's basically here, it's about extremes, and it's where we can be extremely kind and we can be dedicated. But if somebody, upsets us, and Scorpio sun, I'm Scorpio rising, by the way, so we've all got Scorpio in our chart somewhere, and that's how it plays out. Mine is on my AC. Some people, if you look at your chart, you'll know this sun might be falling in any house, and that's where your Scorpio is, and where the moon is, wherever Taurus is in your chart, 8 degrees of Taurus, that's where your moon is also falling. And so, there's a lot about Scorpio, to do with taboos and to do with birth, death, and transformation. And the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, so it's where we transmute and we let go of things and we dig deep. It's to do with psychology as well, and merging with others. But also we can want power and control, or people may want power and control over us. So with the polarity being Taurus, we have to begin to look at our inner needs as well. And we can be very skillful here, like investigators with that sun. And, we've also got Mercury will be moving back in. It's retrograde. It's currently at 26 degrees. When it gets to 25, let me see, it's going to go back, and then it's going to go back into Scorpio again. And Scorpio is my 12th house. So look where that is as well, because we've been reflecting and reviewing over the last 3 weeks on our communication and such like. It will go direct, I think, on the 3rd or the 4th, which is in a few days, and we'll start moving ahead again, and cleaning up whatever we've been thinking about during this time of it retrograde. Scorpios, we can be very charming, but also we can be hiding things and going into the deep as well. The Venus in Libra here, because if we take if we look at that moon, it's actually ruled by, that moon is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Libra. So the Venus in Libra, it's where we, understand harmony, and life is about beauty, and it's about justice as well, and it's about being fair, and it's also where we have sensitivity and around emotions. And the nature of feelings is likely to influence how we want to, try and charm people as well, or be kind to people, or can be considerate. And beauty is really important with the Venus in Libra, and we've also, it's in its own home there as well with Venus in Libra, because Libra is also ruled by Venus, as so is Taurus. But the Taurus, when it's in Taurus, it's about our inner needs, Venus, and when it's in Libra, it's about others. So it's quite interesting that we've got this playing out here. And the next thing I want to look at is this Uranus conjunct the moon, which is interesting. So the moon conjunct Uranus, and I don't think there's any, this is just perfection, because this is about breaking free of limitations. And if we think of what's the elections that are coming up in the USA, there's so many changes going on all over the world. I'm in London, the UK. We've got huge changes going on here. Do pull out your chart and see what houses these are falling in for you. For me, this is happening in my 6th house, which is to do with work and routines. The 6th house is to do with work and routines and health. So I'm focusing on that, for the next few weeks, which is perfect for me. So with Uranus, we can have sudden shocking events, and there can be upsets and disputes, and the breaking of patterns as well, and where we can fluctuate between periods of being really awake and feeling very lethargic as well, because it affects the electrical system. The Uranus doesn't affect it, but it's to do with the electrical system, and our brain, our whole body is full of electricity, and we live in the world of, everything is connected, nothing is separate. Although things may seem separate to us, they're not. During this period, our psychic talents can be stimulated, because Uranus is also to do the ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius in the mind is very, the word would be, like shocks, like big aha moments, and also Uranus, Aquarius is to do with our hopes and dreams, and the bigger picture, it's to do with groups of people. And Uranus in Taurus is to do with our monetary needs, and how we're figuring those out right now, how we're getting to a point of restructuring money, which is happening, and it will continue to happen as we pull out of this whole period of lockdowns and COVID and whatever, and things will recover. We don't need to be afraid of the future, that's for sure. We can have, because the moon is to do with ego, and the moon rules the sign of Cancer, which is the depth of our emotions. It's the unseen childhood in us, and also the ego. We can have healthy ego. Ego's been given a bad name generally by spirituality in some cases, but unless it's fully understood, we have a healthy ego, and we have the super ego. There's different types of ego, and there can be an unhealthy ego, a narcissistic sort of type ego, for instance, not caring about other people. So we can have flashes of insight, and we should be taking these seriously at this time, and also not to stay stuck in a rut. And we're being asked to move, really move forward and look at the standards and how our society is running. And also Uranus is to do with being eccentric and strange, in a good way, not individuation. It's like, I'm going to be myself, I'm going to be authentic, I'm not going to live a lie, I want to know who I am. Also in that sense that we would ask ourselves, so we can feel a bit detachment with the Uranus as well. We can feel like we're detached from people during this period as well. And probably, if you think about it, with elections going on and how this affects the whole world, there can be a lot of people inside themselves thinking things through. And also it's also to do with psychic ability as well. And the last thing I'd like to say is that what we got going on is the North Node is in Gemini, and we've generally got, this is our life path at the moment, and we've got another year or so with the node in Gemini, which is really beneficial to us. That the transiting node is actually hitting my moon, my natal moon at the moment, which is really good for me. It's shaking off some stuff and stepping further forward into my life. We've got Mars that's currently retrograde, and that will be going forward when it gets to 15 degrees retrograde. You see the little R there? When it goes to 15, then it's going to start going forward, and it will leave Aries in the first week in January. And then we've got the Jupiter and Saturn, which will hit 0 degrees of Aquarius on the 21st of December. And also we've got something going on in January, I think it's the 12th or 13th, where we got some, big, squares going on. But I'll talk about that as we go through. I don't want to overload on information at the moment. But look at your house and look at the area of life that needs to be revolutionized, because we've got this Uranus. And for me, it is that Uranus is in my 6th house as well. My Taurus is my 6th house. And if you want to work with me, then book me in the link below. Or, if you've got any questions, then drop some comments in the comments below this video. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.